Hello, guys. What's going on? I'm Craig, and this is Spirit of Vinyl. Hope you guys all had a great week. Finally, Friday. Thank God. It's been one of those weeks. I tell you what, it feels like took way longer than the 5 days of the week for sure. So, finally, Friday night. Sit back, come out and say hello to everybody. Drink me a beer or two. Listen to some tunes. Tonight I'm going to be drinking some more of these Killer Grove Blood Orange Ales from Talesman Brewery in Ogden, Utah. Still have a few left from my trip that I brought back with me. This was one of my favorite beers when I lived back there. I haven't found a good blood orange since I moved to Tennessee, so when I went there I bought a few 6-packs and brought them back with me. I got like 8 left and I'm going to be out again. Have to have somebody ship me some, I guess. So. Nice and crisp and refreshing. Very good orangey flavor. Good stuff right there. So, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing well. All right, what I'm going to talk about today, I realize it's almost mid-August already, and I had something I wrote down months ago that I was going to do, and I still haven't done yet. So since it's August of 2025, I figure I better get on it. These are the records that I have in my collection that are 40 years old, that came out in 1985. So now, not all the records are actually 40 years old. They came out 40 years ago. Some of them are represses. Most of them are OGs, though, so I was quite surprised. I'm going to show probably, I think, 12 of them today, and then I'll have to do a part 2 because I don't want to keep you guys here for hours. I'm going to do another one later because I had, I don't know, about 25 of them all together. So they came out in 1985. So we'll start, these are going to kind of go in order starting in January. There'll be some that are kind of out maybe when I get towards the end, but whatever. So January 21st, 1985, Loudness, Thunder in the East. This is Atco Records. I want to say this is their 4th or 5th title overall. But this is their basically American breakout debut. There's the band right there. It's got Crazy Nights on it, which was their biggest hit, I would assume. Inner Sleeve's got lyrics on one side, blank on the other. Yeah, this is, I saw Loudness on this tour. They were a cool band, you know, they didn't really break huge in America. Rock and Roll Crazy Nights, the song Crazy Nights was a hit on MTV, and I did get a chance to see these guys one time back then. I was probably, I think, I would have been 16 in 1985. Actually, when this album came out, I had just turned 16. So I think I saw them the summer of 85 with Keel. So that was pretty cool. So Loudness, this is a really good record. I mean, they're a very good band, and they have a lot of music. You know, America just didn't pay a whole lot of attention to them. So, all right, January 28th, 1985, following week, David Lee Roth releases his solo debut EP, Crazy from the Heat. On Warner Brothers Records, there's a picture of Dave from the Inner Sleeve, and there's your 4 songs right there. That's all that was on this, and then he did, let's see, the back cover is pretty much the same as the Inner Sleeve. And then after Crazy from the Heat, he does Eat 'Em and Smile, which is his debut, full-length debut. So this is just an EP, 4 songs. There was a cool video for California Girls. I'm not sure if he did one for Just a Gigolo or not. In my mind, I think he did one, but not sure, honestly. All right, March 26th of 85. Speaking of Keel, The Right to Rock comes out. This is their major label debut. Let's see here. There's your label. It's on Gold Mountain Records, I think is what it says. And And I don't have the inner sleeve. I got it back, and you'll see this is a promo, gold stamp promo copy. Ron Keel, Brian J., Mark Ferrari, Kenny Chasen, and Dwayne Miller. Yeah, Right to Rock, Back to the City, Let's Spend the Night Together, Easier Said Than Done, So Many Girls, So Little Time, Electric Love, Speed Demon, Get Down, You're the Victim, I'm the Crime. This is another great band, really talented, great guitar work, just excellent stuff all the way through. And Right to Rock was a hit, but overall, they never really got that big in America either. And they have a larger catalog than that. I have that, and I have the Final Frontier. That's the only two Keel albums I own. The Loudness album, that's the only one I own of them. But just some of those bands in the mid-'80s, they were just really, really good, but they just didn't explode and didn't quite go as big as everything else. Of course, this is 85. You know, the hair metal thing is starting to, it's not really getting played out yet. That doesn't happen for a couple more years, but a lot of these bands are starting to come out in 85. You get Keel, you get Loudness, you get a lot of those bands. They come, they're there for a couple years, and they basically disappear. All right, April 29th, Eurythmics, Be Yourself Tonight. This is on RCA Records. And there's the inner sleeve. Sort of a poster thing that would kind of fold over one way or the other. And it had this insert in it. There's your track listing right there. And there's lyrics on the back of that right there. The Eurythmics, they were one of those bands back in 85. Of course, we're all aware of songs like Sweet Dreams and Missionary Man and things like that. But I wasn't really into this band. I started buying this style of music more recently, getting into some of the 80s new wave type sound, and I really, really enjoy it. And I pretty much have, I have a lot of Eurythmics albums now. Pretty much all of them up until, from the beginning up until like 89 or something like that. All right, another album, May 17th, Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms. Of course, this album's been talked about on here multiple times. There's your label there, Warner Brothers label with looks like palm trees and some sort of island oasis thing on here. This is the big one for them. So Far Away, Money for Nothing, Walk of Life. Those are the first three songs on this record. This is a great record. I just picked this up probably less than 6 months ago. I bought it, it was there, and I feel like this is one of those records as a record collector that you should own no matter what. And it's a really good record. I'm not a huge Dire Straits fan, but that's a great album. So, all right, in June 12th of 1985, the greatest thrash band in the world puts out their debut album, Megadeth, Killing Is My Business. And business is good. This album, this one is a repress. This is the Final Kill Cut, is what it's called. It's got 2 records on it. It's got a live record. Side 2 is a bunch of live stuff from the early 80s. Side 1 is the Killing Is My Business album that had been remastered or whatever. This is a really cool set. I know they just re-released this again this year for its 40th anniversary. There's the inner on this. This is a really good record. It kind of went, they didn't blow up until the next record. Until Peace Sells come out, that's when Megadeth really blows up. This one, you know, I did not listen to this in 1985 because when Peace Sells came out was when I got into Megadeth. That would have been in 86. And then I went back and bought this record back then. This one, I mean, just very cool early 80s thrash. So if you're a Megadeth fan, you probably already own it. If you're not a Megadeth fan, what the hell is wrong with you? They're the greatest thrash band of all time, in my opinion. All right, one of my favorite 80s Sunset Strip metal bands. And June of 85, Rat releases Invasion of Your Privacy. This is their follow-up to Out of the Cellar. And this is a really good record, too. Of course, I'm a big fan. Rat is one of my favorite bands from that era. You're in Love, Lay It Down. Those were basically the only two main hits on there. There's your track listing right there. There's the back cover. Atlantic Records, of course. Green and orange label. Inner sleeve just says Rat. It has some information, and the back of it is just blank like that. This is an OG copy also, by the way, obviously. I mean, I guess I say obviously, but, you know. So Rats, you know, they come out with Round and Round and the Out of the Cellar record, and they blow up. And this album just keeps them going right to the top of, you know, it just keeps them going. They're just as big as ever. This is a really, really great record, and they're a really great band. I miss Rat a lot. I really do. One of my favorites, you know. All right, June 14th, Scorpions release Worldwide Live. This is a double live album that was recorded during the Love at First Sting tour. I saw this tour, and this is a very good representation of this. As far as live albums go, this sounds really, really good. It's got really cool stuff. It's got great songs on it. Let's see. There's your track listing. Countdown, Coming Home, Blackout, Bad Boys Running Wild, Loving You Sunday Morning, Make It Real, Big City Nights, Coast to Coast, Holidays, Still Loving You. Side 3, Rock You Like a Hurricane, Can't Live Without You. I mean, this track listing just goes on and on and on. Scorpions' greatest hits. There's the picture on the inside. It's got all of the dates on here. Like I said, I saw this tour. Oh, there we go. March 28th, 1980. This would have, well, it would have been 84 when I saw the tour, because this album came out in 85, and Salt Lake City's right there, March 28th, 1985. Whatever. You can't see that. So, but yeah, this is a great live record. Catches the essence of the Scorpions in the 80s. It really does. Very good renditions of the songs. Just very cool stuff all the way around. All right, what else? Let's see. June 21st, 1985, Motley Crue releases their worst album. Theater Pain is their worst album, in my opinion. It's got some good songs, but basically Home Sweet Home and Smoke in the Boys Room is really the only thing on here. I bought this just to fill up my Crue collection. Not that I have everything Crue ever put out, but, you know, to have Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil, and then have Feel Good and Girls, 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 but not have Theater of Pain in between seems kind of dumb, so I bought it. Probably played it a couple times. It's all right. You know, if you've seen the movie The Dirt, there's a whole scene where Vince Neil's all pissed off about how shitty this record is, and he's not wrong. Compared to, is this the follow-up to Shout at the Devil? You know, they come out, they're dressed in pink and everything else. This kind of threw me off the Crue for a while. It really did. So, but came out in 1985, June 21st. July 1st, 1985, next up on the list, AC/DC, Fly on the Wall. I'm not sure what, this is not an OG, this is one of they did their 50th anniversary represses or whatever. Basically, it's got the story in the inner sleeve. They all basically kind of look the same. I have a couple other records from that same run. Not sure what year this came out in. This says 2003, but I want to say that is not correct. But I guess it could have been. But yeah, you can tell it's a repress right there, acdc.com. Fly on the Wall, Shake Your Foundation, First Blood, Dangerous, Sink the Pink, Playing with Girls, Stand Up, Hell or High Water, Back in Business, Send for a Man. It's a good record, and I dug it a lot when I was in high school. I really did dig it a lot. But this was pretty much the end of AC/DC for me, and that's partly to do because, you know, by the time they put out another record, it's the later 80s, and I'm full into thrash music by then. So, you know, What came after this, I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. This is the last. I have every AC/DC album from the beginning up to this. That's where I stop in my collection, and I can't see getting anything after that. I've never really listened to any of that. Of course, I'm aware of all the radio stuff like Thunderstruck and all that shit. But I think this is a good record. But, you know, before this, I want to say it's Fly on the Wall, which is a great record, man. And, you know, I could see maybe buying one more. I could probably go with Who Made Who. I think that was the next record they put out. They put out the soundtrack to Maximum Overdrive, which is Who Made Who, which is essentially just a greatest hits album with one new song on it. So this, for me, this is pretty much where I stopped collecting AC/DC. All right, let's see. In July 12th, Lizzie Borden, Love You to Pieces, comes out. This is Lizzie Borden's debut, full-length debut. They did an EP beforehand called Give 'Em the Axe, which is like a 4-song EP, and then they get signed to Metal Blade Records, or actually Metal Blade had already signed them, and then this is their full-length debut. So Give 'Em the Axe is like I said, a 4-song EP. This is their debut record. Council of Cauldron, Psychopath, Save Me. I'm reading these songs like most of you would know what I'm talking about. If you don't listen to Lizzie Borden, you're not going to know any of these because you're probably only going to know songs like Me Against the World and stuff like that. So this is a great record. Lizzie Borden is a highly underrated band, in my opinion. I think he's got a cool voice. Here's the inner sleeve. It's not a sleeve, it's an insert. Picture of the band, lyrics on the back, and my copy actually has 2 of them for some reason. So I will put this out there for all of you in the VC. If you have a copy of this record, but you don't have the insert and you would like it, go ahead and contact me and I'll see if I can get it sent to you. So Lizzie Borden, Love You to Pieces. Just an excellent record all the way around. Cool cover. They were just a really cool band. So, but like I said, I got 2 of those. So if you have a copy of that, but you didn't have the insert, just go to my main page. You click on that. My email's on there. Send me an email, and I'll get back with you, and we'll see what we can do. Because I don't need 2 of them in here, honestly. So how I ended up with 2 inserts, just how it came, I guess. You know, I ordered this. Actually, I bought these. I was at a flea market, and one of those antique stores with a whole bunch of different sections in there, where you know people just rent spots and stuff. And a guy had a record section in there, and he was just selling records. And I found a whole bunch of Lizzie Borden in there. So, all right, one more, which will bring us to August 12th. And since it's August 8th, that's pretty close. August 12th, 1985, Dio releases Sacred Heart. Kind of a cheesy cover, in my opinion. And let's see here. This is Warner Brothers white label type of record. Their basic white label. There's your inner sleeve picture of Dio and the band. And that's the thank you list or the lyrics of Sacred Heart. King of Rock and Roll, Sacred Heart, Another Lie, Rock and Roll Children, Side 2's Hungry for Heaven, Like the Beat of a Heart, Just Another Day, Fallen Angels, and Shoot Shoot. This is a great record. It really is a great record. Holy Diver gets a lot of credit for being his, you know, since it was his solo debut. This is the 3rd one after he went solo, after Sabbath and all that. You know, he was in Rainbow, then he's in Sabbath, and then he does solo. And this is his 3rd LP as a solo artist, or as Dio the band, or whatever you wanted to call it. I think they actually, you know, we always thought of it as Dio. Dio was a solo artist, but Dio was the name of the band. That's a great record too. I don't know what happened after that. I think it's just the error thing. I fell off with Dio after that too. I know there's more records that Dio continued to make music all the way up until he almost died. But that's all I have from Dio. I have those first 3 solo records. I have his Sabbath stuff. I have some of the Rainbow stuff, you know. So, but that's it when it comes to Dio. as a band or as a solo artist or however you want to look at it. So, all right, that's it for today. I've got like 12 more I'll probably do in the next week or two, just to get through them all. And, you know, 1985. So all those albums came out in 1985. I would have been 16 years old. So you could do the math. It's 40 years later. Now you know how old I am. Old as shit. That's pretty much it. I'm old as shit. Just like, yeah, I'm old as shit. Some days I just wonder how I made it this far, you know? You think about some of that, whatever. Life is life, right? Well, here's to living. Here's to another 40 years. Don't know if I'll make it that far, but, you know, 40 years of rock and roll. All right. Thanks, guys. Cheers. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys all later, man. Have a good one.